All right. Good evening, everyone. I would like to call the Township of Wainfleet regular council meeting of April 29th, 2025 to order. At this time, please stand for the national anthem. We would like to begin this meeting by acknowledging the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and the Haudenosaunee peoples, acknowledging the One Bowl and Spoon Treaty. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, please note that these meeting proceedings are being broadcast live, recorded, and made available through the Township website and YouTube.com. As we do each year on the 28th day of April, yesterday we lowered our flags in recognition of the National Day of Mourning to honor those workers who have died or injured or became ill from their job, and to renew our commitment to health and safety in the workplace. Our next regular meeting of council is Tuesday, May 20th at 6:30 p.m. Are there any announcements or remarks from members of council? Seeing none. Going to move into the adoption of the previous council minutes. So I have a motion that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held April 8th, 2025 be adopted as circulated. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Councilor Anderson, Councilor Van Fleet. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, we're going to move into the public meeting. Zoning bylaw amendment file number Z02-2025W. In accordance with the Planning Act, public meeting is held to present information regarding the proposed amendment to the public and for council to receive comments from the public. Staff will not make a recommendation and council will not make a decision on the proposed amendment at this evening's public meeting. A planning report will be brought forward by staff and considered by council at a later date. As a member of the public, you are welcome to request to be notified of any future meetings respecting the proposed amendment. Please provide your contact information on the sign-in sheet located at the back of council chambers. Please be advised that the sign-in information will form part of the public record for this application. I will now ask the planner to provide details on the purpose of the proposed amendment and any written comments received.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to all of council. So the subject lands are located on the north side of Clarendon Street West, just east of Gilmore Road, and are known municipally as 32626 Clarendon Street West. The property is designated as prime agricultural area under the Niagara official plan and is designated agricultural area, environmental protection area, environmental conservation area, and fish habitat in the township's official plan, and zoned agricultural A2 with environmental protection, conservation, and fish habitat overlays under zoning bylaw 034/2014. So the subject lands are also the subject of a concurrent consent application to sever Part 1 as a surplus farm dwelling. That application was provisionally approved by the Committee of Adjustment at their April 16th hearing, and approval of the proposed zoning bylaw amendment is a condition of that consent application. So this zoning bylaw amendment proposes to rezone Part 1 of the subject lands, being the lot proposed to be created for the surplus farm dwelling, to a site-specific agricultural A2-83 zone to recognize a minimum lot area of 0.98 hectares. And then Part 2 being the remnant farm parcel to a site-specific agricultural A2-1/82 zone to prohibit dwellings and to recognize a minimum lot area of 32.9 hectares. The existing overlay zones are to be maintained through the proposed zoning. So in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act, a notice of public meeting was mailed to property owners within 120 meters of the subject lands, and a public notice board was posted on the property. The application materials were also posted on the township's website and were circulated to agencies and township departments for review and comment. The following comments have been received. So the Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority noted that the current floodplain for the watercourse should be included in the zoning bylaw amendment through a hazard overlay zone, and that once the proposed site grading works are completed, that the mapping for that hazard overlay be updated. Niagara Region noted no concerns with respect to archaeology and the natural environment, but did recommend that the applicant be provided the archaeological advisory clause, and that the zoning bylaw amendment capture the other wetlands identified on the subject property. The Township Drainage Department noted that the property is assessed to the consolidated South Wainfleet drain, but that due to the nature of the amendment, there were no concerns or comments. And we did not receive any written public comments for this file.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. Does the applicant wish to provide any comments regarding their application? Seeing as they're not here, I guess not. Does any member of council have any comments regarding the proposed amendment? Seeing none, is there anyone in the gallery that wishes to provide comments regarding this proposed amendment? Seeing none. So, seeing there is no further comments, I will now ask the planner to review next steps.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So a planning report regarding a complete review of the application will be brought forward at a later date. And I just have a note regarding appeal rights. Under Bill 185, the Cutting Red Tape to Build More Homes Act 2024 was given royal assent on June 6, 2024, and restricts third-party appeals. So the Planning Act now states that the applicant, a specified person, a public body, the registered owner of the land to which the bylaw applies, and the minister may appeal the decision of council to the Ontario Land Tribunal, provided they made oral submission at a public meeting or written submissions to council before a decision is made. Parties other than those listed are no longer eligible to file appeals for this application.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. So that concludes the public meeting for the proposed zoning bylaw amendment. If you wish to be notified of the decision of council regarding the proposed application, you must make a written request to the planning department. We have no delegations this evening. We're going to move into the consent agenda. We also have nothing on the consent agenda this evening. So we're going to move to staff reports and recommendations. Memorandum respecting the asphalt patching. Mr. Nan, can you please provide a brief overview of your report?
Thank you, Your Worship and members of council. This memo is to advise council of the proposed plan to complete large road patches with hot mix asphalt that have been identified as a result of this year's frigid winter season. Staff are proposing to complete the works at the lowest quoted price and absorb the excess within the overall operating budget. If the operating budget does not have the required allotment remaining at the end of the year, staff are proposing that the remaining amounts be funded from the infrastructure reserve. I'm available for questions at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Nan. So I have a motion that Public Works memorandum respecting asphalt patching be received and that the recommendation contained therein be approved. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Councilor McCullen, Councilor Anderson. Any discussion? Councilor McCullen, go ahead.
Mr. Nan, have you gotten prices already, or do we not know what we're talking about?
Through Your Worship, yes, we did, and it was in the actual memo. The lowest price came in at 100 and find it on my sheet. $170,575 total for all the patches that we were planning on doing this year.
Okay.
But we only budgeted $100,000 in our capital or in our operating budget. So the surplus we're hoping to absorb within the operating budget. If not, by the end of the year, we may have to dip into the reserve to pay for that remaining.
Thank you, sir.
Any other discussion? No, seeing none. All right, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Moving on to review of correspondence. We have 2 items of correspondence on the agenda for consideration this evening. Correspondence item C099, respecting the manufacturing of emergency response vehicles in Canada. Councillor Anderson, you requested to pull this item of correspondence. Do you wish to make a motion?
Thank you, through you, Mayor. So I'd like to make a motion that correspondence 99, which was subject from the town of Grimsby, respecting the manufacturing of emergency vehicles in Canada be supported, and that this resolution be sent to all listed recipients.
Thank you, Councillor Anderson. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Gilmore. Any discussion? Councillor McCullen, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Well, if we're going to support this, when it comes time to make purchases, we should make sure that we do support it, right? So we're not buying foreign-made material when we can get it here. It may not be exactly what somebody wants, but it's made in this country, so we should support it.
Completely agree. During pre-council today, the chief was with us and actually advised us that we've purchased 5 pieces of equipment from Canadian companies. So we try to do that as best we can. Any other discussion? Seeing none, then I will call the question. All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, moving on to the second item, correspondence item C102, respecting the request for a recognition of Doctors' Day. Does any member of council wish to make a motion? Councilor McCullen, can I get a seconder? Oh, well, motion to support, I'm assuming? Yes. Thank you. And Councilor Gilmore will second that. Any discussion? Seeing none, so I will call the question. All in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, moving into bylaws. We don't have any bylaws on the agenda this evening. Are there any notices of motion this evening? Seeing none? Okay, we have no items for closed session this evening, so we are going to move right into bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council. I have a motion that bylaw number 13/2025, being a bylaw to adopt, ratify, and confirm the actions of the council at its regular meeting of council held April 29th, 2025, be read and passed this 29th day of April 2025. Can I have a mover and seconder? Councilor McCullen, Councilor Wainfleet. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay. There being no further business, the meeting is now adjourned. Thanks, everybody.